Hello, I am Helen Sattler, your destiny helper. I am so glad to be with you on this wonderful morning, this resurrected morning. And I'm here to talk to you about narcissistic recovery, narcissist recovery. What does it take? What happens in recovery? What can you expect in recovery? Because many times we go through things and it takes time for recovery. And hello, tomorrow. Minister Tomorrow, how are you? Blessings to you. Thank you for being with us. We're talking about narcissistic recovery. It takes a lot of work, especially it depends on how long you were in it and the damage that was done, because time can depict the kind of damage that was done to you. And oftentimes we don't realize the damage that is done until after it's over. We don't realize how we were affected by the narcissist. And you will not realize that until you go no contact. When you go no contact, that would be the beginning of your healing. But until then, you are in a regimen of continuum. You will consistently go over and over and over and over and over and over with the narcissist, and you're setting yourself up to be further damaged by hello, Violet. Thank you for being with me on this morning as we talk about recovery. And recovery happen in stages. Recovery happen in layers, because some things you will remember when you get away from the narcissist. Good morning to you. When you get away from the narcissist, your memory will start to come back. Your recall zone will be more prevalent. You'll start thinking of things that happened during the episode that you were connected with the narcissist. The only part of the relationship that you had that had any kind of emotions in it were you, because the narcissist had a tendency to mirror the emotions and to give you the mirroring of emotions, because remember, on their emotions, as far as love and caring and empathy, they shut that down. They don't, that has been shut off a long time ago, and that valve is off. So you get that from them because they are mirroring you, or they picked it up from somebody else. So by the time you get the narcissist to have contact with them, they are full of other people that they've been through, the personality switch over, the transference of relationship. Hello, Cindy Lou, how are you? Glad to have you on. She said, from sunny England, send some of that sun to Washington. We would love to have it. We were talking about the narcissist, and we were talking about the recovery zone from the narcissist. And I was saying that you don't recover until you really go on no contact. You can get stronger in the relationship and learn how to live with them when you're married, but it doesn't stop the torment. It doesn't stop the torture. You just have to strengthen yourself in the midst of that. You have to build your character in the midst of this. And so what you have to do, because the narcissist is so consuming and they require everything to be catered towards them, and they require everything to be about them, you must take a second interest, and you must pour into yourself in order to defend yourself. As a Christian, you must be laced with prayer. You cannot be without prayer and prevail against the narcissist. That's just not going to happen. That's not going to happen. You must take time to engage yourself in reading, in studying about narcissism, educating yourself. And a lot of times they tell you to go gray rock. It's hard sometimes to go gray rock, because the narcissist will provoke you out of gray rock, where you won't be able to be neutral in giving them anything, because when you're neutral and they can't get supply, they will go somewhere else. It's in their nature. They cannot be without supply, so they will not be without you. So you'll just get a discard, and that can be difficult when you are with the narcissist. Hello, Marquila, how are you? She said, hi, Matilda from Panama, representative of Panama. I love you and you are saving my life. Oh my God. Praise the Lord. I mean, that is a blessing. And we were talking about Matilda. We was talking today about narcissistic recovery. When you are in recovery, how do you go? The greatest recovery is from a no contact zone. That is not always possible, especially if you're married to the narcissist, have children by the narcissist, or in business with the narcissist, and it is required that you connect with them. But when you connect with the narcissist with children, you can get a mediator if you all are not together. You can get a mediator so you can have a safe zone where you're not by yourself, because a lot of times the narcissist will go into a hoovering aspect to save himself from child support or to save himself from court proceeding. He will hoover you to get you back locked into them. And hoovering can come in different phases. You can look at the hoover that I did, and also Dr. Carmen Bryant did a real good one on hoovering. And so when you are with the narcissist and you're married to them and you're finding that you want out, you have to condition your mind while you're with the narcissist, because the devaluation, the gaslighting, the discard is going to continue. It will just go in cycles. You will just have all this done in your home. When the narcissist is with you, then the next thing you know, he's lying, cheating, intimidating, controlling. Then he started gaslighting. Then he used word salad, and then he used intimidation, devaluation. Then, you know, after the devaluation come the discard, where he discard you in the house. He goes silent on you. And then you have ghosting, where he pulls himself away and he fade out. He's fading out because you're getting ready to be discarded. He discards you in the house, where he pays you no mind, and it's not like you're even there in the house. And then when he feel like you are getting ready to leave, you just done had enough, he comes back in for the hoover. And then he started love bombing. Oh, baby, I was out of my mind. You know, I didn't really mean it. You know, the pressure that I'm going through. You know, I love you and the kids. And then you give in, and then he love bomb you, get you locked. And the longer you stay with the narcissist, the deeper you get locked into him, the more you lose control. You lose control of yourself. You lose control of your mind. Then, you know, you're already having issues with thinking everything is clouded, and you almost feel like you're strangled by him, because when the narcissist is love bombing, he wants to spend as much time as he can with you. So he locks you into him, spend all this time and get you used to spending time. Boom. Then he drops you like a hot potato, because remember, when you are being devalued and trauma bonded, that really keeps you on too, because without any explanation, they just drop you. And so what do? You go after to please the narcissist. You go after to satisfy the narcissist, even though you did this in a cycle, even though you know the process, you know that he's going to discard, you know what he's going to come in. You keep convincing yourself, this time it'll be different. This time he mean it, because you let your guards down. And so when you are in recovery, you don't really recover until you get into a no contact zone, unless you learn how to deal with the narcissist without emotions. And you know, if he don't get any fuel from you, he's already triangling probably and going through other places to get fuel, but that place you farther away from the narcissist. Now, if you don't mind doing it, it depends on what stage of commitment you're in, because usually when you first come in, you're so committed, you're so controlled, you're sold out. It's like being a slave on a slave plantation. You are looking to escape from your master. So the narcissist totally controls you. He controls your appetite. He controls how you think, because the narcissist get you and put you in training. That's why they look for long-term relationship, because they look for someone who can handle the pain, who can handle the torture, but they depend on their love bombing aspect so much until you can't get away. And look, think about this now. When they love bomb you, they think that love bombing will last for years. And when it starts to dissipate, they come in and give it to you again. they wham you again. And each time you receive the love bombing, you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until you are locking in, locking in, locking in. And they affect the redirections of your thinking. Your thinking now, you have memory loss. You have a lot of confusion. You have a lot of intimidation. You no longer know who you are. They devalue you. You'll start believing some of the devaluation. They isolated you from your family. They isolated you from your friends. And then all of your friends in the love bombing stage, they really wanted to know what was your angle, who were you connected to. And so the love bombing went to the honeymoon phase, and the honeymoon phase got them involved with your family and your friends. So when you look like you want to go, they take and they start their devaluation, but they get all in your friends to start a smear campaign. So they start bringing false charges against your name, false charges against your character, until they have the character and the people against them. So before you can get to the people, they get to the people and say that you're weird and out. You know, you're acting really, really controlling. They need to be free. They don't know what to do because you won't let them go anywhere. You won't let them do anything. And they just feel trapped, but they love you and they don't know what to do because they don't want to hurt you and they don't want to be hurt. And you are destroying them. What should they do? So everybody's looking at you as if you have lost your mind. And it's totally the opposite, because the narcissists a lot of time would tell on themselves, and they tell on themselves by telling what they are doing, and they will accuse you of doing what they are doing, but people will believe them. And sometimes the specimen or the person can get to the group, their friends, their family, before the narcissists have a chance to smear their name. When this happens, they look at the narcissist. Then the narcissist, they'll start seeing little things that the person said that they were true. And so now the narcissist is being viewed as a very evil, very wicked, very controlling person. And so now the family, the friends are encouraging an escape. They're encouraging you to leave. They encourage you to keep who you are, not to lose your person, because the longer you stay, you will lose your person. And when they see how much control the narcissist has over you, it makes them very, 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 very uncomfortable that you are not out of it, that you are still locked into this connection. I won't call it a relationship, because the only relating is you to the narcissist, but the controlling is the narcissist to you. And you got to remember, the narcissists are excellent listeners. They listen to everything you say. They listen to every word you say. They watch the emotions with the word. All that is fuel. And then they want emotion and passion with the words, and you're thinking it, even if they stir up anger, stir up lies, and you're argumentative and you're fighting. Why are you doing this to me? What have I done to you? I thought you loved me. If you love me, you would never have done this to me. And you're crying and you are saying how and why and what have I done? Why don't you love me? I'm giving you everything. All that's fuel. So he's getting fuel off of you. So it's hard to leave. It's hard to disconnect with something like that. So when you are with the narcissist and you need to strengthen yourself, you must have a point of contact, out of contact, out of the boundaries, out of the scale, that you talk to somebody. Because sometimes when you talk to somebody, they give you a sense of reasoning, a sense of understanding. Because when you are locked in your own mind, you only have your own thoughts, and your own thoughts may be limited and your perspective may be limited. And when you talk to somebody else, they broaden your view, and then you can start recalling. When they say this, you'll recall, oh yeah, I remember when they said this. I remember when they did this. And when you are remembering when they said this and when they did this, you are seeing those narcissistic trace, how the narcissists function, how they control. You are seeing even how they go to you and they are controlling the children. And then you'll remember you were so wrapped in the narcissist, you didn't realize how miserable the children was. And now you see how miserable the children was. They are nervous, they are shaky, they are jumpy, they are scared. It's hard for them to concentrate. It's hard for them to learn. It's hard for them to eat. And when they sleep, they are sleep not soundly because they are scared. Every little sound makes them jump. They're afraid dad will hurt mom, or they're afraid dad will hurt them. So they are very scared and very intimidated by his presence or her presence. So they go to bed and they stay up as much as they can. And finally, they fall asleep because they're so tired. And the tiredness prevent them from staying awake. But early in the morning, they arise again. And so you no longer have you and the children. You have you, her, and the children. You, him, and the children. So the difference is being made. And that's why when they call you or try to hoover you, your response is very, very, very imperative. You got to remember, they'll trigger you anyway. They'll say their mom is in the hospital, the children is sick. They'll tell you that, they love you, that they really care about you. And then you will think, well, that it feels good when I talk to him. When I talk to him, the pain leave. Or when I talk to her, the pain leave. When they text me, the pain leave. Or when they email me, the pain leave, because it makes you feel that the narcissist is really there. And then you start thinking they can't be a narcissist, because if they were a narcissist, they wouldn't love you. You've been with them for 40 years. They've done the same thing for 40 years. And each time you take and negotiate with yourself. And so this is, now you see why the no contact zone is very imperative. Hello, Audrey. How are you? Now you see why the no contact zone. She said, always remember, love don't hurt. That's a good one. She said, blessed by the best. Hello. Good morning. She said, my ex-narc is a bully. He starts problems. Then when he gets called out on it, he lies and plays the victim. Oh yeah, absolutely. That must be the lower narcissist to the lower mid narcissist. They do that. They are very apologetic. They are very victim conscious. They apologize until they can set up how to bring more ruin to your life. And like Audrey said, love doesn't hurt. Love secures. Love look out of a way to benefit you, to maximize you, to launch you forward, but not with the narcissist. The narcissist is jealous of your success and jealous of your friends. Everything that you have, the narcissist doesn't have, because the narcissist may find it difficult to really laugh and feel joy. And see, he's like an android. It's like this cue, boom, you push your button and say, you're supposed to laugh right here. Ha 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 ha. Then he laughed and he said, now you're supposed to not laugh right here. So he doesn't laugh. And they say, you're supposed to hug right here. So you hug. Hello, Sandy Lou. And Audrey said, good morning, Apostle. Love you too, baby. Love you very, very, very much. And so she said, yes, they're spoiling envy. Yeah, they cannot stand for you to do good. And that's why when you are with them, you have to feed yourself. You have to strengthen yourself. You have to feed yourself with strong affirmations. Learn as much as you can to what do you call gray rock. Learn as much as you can, because there's time you can wound them, but you have to be careful. If they're lower to upper to lower mid narcissists, they can be violent, and it may cause you physical violation to do that. So you have to use wisdom when you in the house. When you in the house, don't be so controversial. I was listening. Hello, Lynette. How are you? I was listening to someone instruct a woman how to turn him off. Don't give him what he wants. Don't ask. You got to know who's in your house. You are living with a narcissist. If you're going to do that, leave. Because if you can't satisfy the narcissist, you can't give them supply, they're going to go somewhere else. You cannot want him not to go somewhere else and he not to get supply. He is a narcissist. He either going to beat you to pulp, try to kill you, hurt the kids, molest the kids, for the lower or lower mids, and then or smear your name. So you have to be careful when you are still in the house. The best thing to do, the best remedy is a no contact. You can't get revenge. They take that as a challenge fuel. So they get challenge fuel from you being angry, revengeful. They're still getting fuel. It's an emotion. And then you are actively engaged in their emotion. So they are still getting fuel. And your whole thing is not to give them fuel. Hello, Telsha. How are you doing? She said, good morning, Apostle. Happy Resurrection Day. Likewise, my princess, likewise. And so, and Valen said, yes, that's exactly what they do. And so when you are living with them, you have to learn to go gray rock. When you go gray rock, that means you're responding to them with no emotions, which is a learned behavior. And it's very hard to do because they're going to keep provoking you until they get some emotion out of you. The negative emotion give lots of fuels, because usually when it's positive, they're idolizing you. And idolizing you, they're telling you all the wonderful things that you want to hear. They are building you up. You can do no wrong, because this is part of the love bombing phase, and then the honeymoon phase. The love bombing, when it's all about you. The honeymoon phase is when they start to engraft your environment in. Learn who your friends are. Learn who you deal with. Learn what your schedule it is, because they are planning in the future to tear that up and to make sure that it works against you. Hello, Lighthouse. How are you? Thank you for being on board. She said, don't forget to like and share. Yeah, those of you who have not subscribed to my page, please subscribe to my page. Push the bell so you can get all the alerts, and like and share this page when you finish, and those of the other page that you have listen to. She said, I think he is a mid to greater narcissist. He's very calculative, pure evil, and violates the parenting time order, but then will call the cops on me. He is such a hypocrite. He doesn't sound like he may be a mid-grade narcissist. The upper grade narcissist is so smooth and calculative. They're violent. They can get angry or show rage. They can, but they usually show manipulation. They're like a cat that is scheming. They scheme you until you don't even know they're scheming. And it takes a lot of fuel out of the matrix to get really, 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 really angry at you. So what they do, they manipulate your mind and have you almost turn against yourself and have you so confused until you don't know what's right. The greater narcissist is something to deal with. And usually the greater narcissists deal with high-ranking people. You know, they will go when they don't have fuel, they get desperate. But because they showboat, they like to deal with high-ranking individuals to prove their worth when it's a greater narcissist. And if you have a greater narcissist, you definitely have to feed your mind, because they are calculative all the time, manipulative all the time, and their cerebral is working. While you're sleeping, they're up. They don't need a lot of sleep. That's that spirit that's with them, because the Bible said that our God neither sleep nor slumber, where the devil don't have lungs, that he gets weary because you're constantly going. And the Bible said that God would create the waster to destroy. And when you studied that, that's why he said, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. The devil is under constant friction. The narcissist is under constant friction. And when you got friction, it's fire, 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 fire. So he's losing energy. And the reason the narcissists need to keep replenishing the energy, because it takes them to give energy to those that are love bombing, to those that are honeymoon, to those that are idolizing. It takes energy. And then when they deal with the narcissist wounds that you are giving them, because you are striking back, They are losing fuel. And so what they've learned is to gain fuel from your anger, but they don't want to be wounded, because that is a deep, 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 deep hurt. And they will fly, they will take flight. She said, please, can a narc keep his or her job? Yes, a narcissist can. They can hold a job. Usually the lower narcissists do not. They stay with their mom. They can't stay still. They're going from job to job to job to job to job. And then they take all of their anger and all of their frustration out on you. So the lower narcissist can be without a job, hold the job for 30 days, then he fire. Hold the job for 2 weeks, then he fire. You notice he keep needing job. That's the lower narcissist, because the lower narcissists get used to someone taking care of them. That's why the lower narcissists end up back with their parents or their family. She's an over ambitious one. The amount of relief that came over me when I went supernova. Oh, man. Yep. She said, and left. It was if I was having an out-of-body experience. I felt freedom immediately. Yeah, it takes a greater narcissist, because most narcissists, a taste of a supernova, they're out of there. They're running with their tails tucked between their legs. She said, blessed by the best said, I go supernova on him, and he punished me because I got away, and I see his tactics. So are you still with him? Blessed best, are you married to him and you still with him? Lighthouse, do you believe in karma that will catch up with the narc? I believe you believe in karma. I believe the Bible. The Bible said, be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. I believe he's going to reap that. It looked like they're getting away, Lighthouse, but they're not. And I mean, when it comes, it's coming, because most people say, why am I going down? My narcissist promise is how can I say, he's going forward. The reason he is because he's manipulating. It's a form of witchcraft. It's control. Audrey said, Lighthouse, mine did. I just never benefit his family. You must remember that his public image is not the way it is at home. Absolutely. And Blessed said the S is 40 and lives with his mom and uses women. Yeah, TMJ, good morning, TMJ. There's another supernova coming on. I'm telling you, I am so blessed. Most people in their whole lifetime never meet a supernova. And I got about 4 or 5 of them that comes on this site. I consider myself super, super blessed. Lifehouse said to Audrey, I hope they lose their job. Oh, wow. No, well, we, the good, the how can I say, it's going to catch up with, like she says, karma. Yeah, but what has happened is reciprocity. The law of reciprocity going to go into motion. She said, amen. The Most High cannot lie, and he has never lied to us, and he is not mocked. Yes, ma'am, I agree. Do not fear revenge. Oh, yeah, they live by fear. Fear is, now they say they have no emotion. They fear, not we, not together. We can counter-parent, but okay, we are not together. Okay, we counter-parent, but he makes people think that I want him, but I want him to just leave me alone. Well, he's a liar. Remember, all narcissists are liars. And the truth of it is he wants that fuel back. So when he make people feel like you want him, he's telling you he want you. I also believe that vengeance belongs to the Lord. Leave it to him. Yes, ma'am, Audrey. That's the way to do it. And Howard said, hello, Miss Sandra. I'm a supernova. To how you doing? I've been watching your channel for a whole week, and now thank you. Oh, okay. Hello there. Sandy said, how can you really tell if you are a supernova? I will explain that. She said, how to cope with painful flashbacks. It's going to take time. And that's why I'm talking about recovery, because recovery, you have to peel back layer by layer. You have to peel it back layer by layer. I would be considered a supernova. I would be considered a super empath. And what happened with a super empath, we deeply feel, we can handle a lot of pain. And a lot of time we carry everybody's problem. We carry till we can't carry. And they would reach a point with supernova where you just get enough and you go, bam, that's it. When you do that, boom, supernova kicked in. All of your traits turn around. So you go from being this loving to this stabbing. You telling that narcissist everything he do to you, you do to him. He manipulate you, you manipulate him. He come back and he tried to gaslight you, reverse. He tried to devalue you, reverse. He discard you, you discard him. That's the supernova. She said, thank you, Apostle, for confirming that supernovas are not narcissists. They are not narcissists, but they have narcissistic traits. I took up deliverance and prayer after because I was feeling bad and horrible and remorseful. No, you are not a narcissist, baby. Angels are moving amazing. And Sandra Luce, I think I may be one. Well, you're a good one if you are one. And see, supernovas, they reach a point and they won't let the narcissist break them. Before they break, they go supernova. And it's almost instantaneous. They draw back those empathic feelings. They draw back that empathic ability and those narcissistic traits. And that's why it usually takes an upper grader narcissist to a greater narcissist to handle them, because they don't break. And the strategy you have to use for that supernova is like getting bees out of beehive. You got to be careful, because that honey is there. But those bees can get loose and give you a problem till you hate the day you even see honey. That's the supernova. It's tick for tack when they're dealing with the narcissist and the upper grade. The greater narcissists know this because their experiences with people, they done been through so many relationships, until you probably will see a city just flooded with men and women that have been wounded and hurt by them. You got to remember, some narcissists will even go bisexual. So they have men and women on both sides. And then he said, the law of reciprocity it is the law of the universe. It sure is. She said, whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. That's the word of God. You on it. And she said, how would the narcissist's fate be? First of all, a narcissist, a real narcissist, how can they be born again? They live to hurt. They're in adultery. If they're married, they're not faithful to their wife. If they have a girlfriend, they're not faithful. They're bisexual and heterosexual. They're filled with hatred. They hate you. They hate you. The narcissists hate you. They hate your success. They hate your happiness. They hate when you smile. They hate when you love. They want you to love them, but they hate when you do it, because they cannot replicate that back. They can't reciprocate that back. They can't give that to you. They can't even duplicate it. They have a form. The Bible said that people may have a form of godliness, but deny the true power thereof. They have a form of love, but the real love is not there. And the reason they do that, because they mirror someone and they watch these people love them, and how these people love them is the way they are loving you. They are doing what they have learned. And day-to-day social work said, she said, I was in the mall yesterday and a woman randomly asked me for advice about what she should do about dating a man who wants to start a family with her. After 4 months, I told her about narcissism. Absolutely. They move quick. Apostle, thank you for shedding the light and the beautiful journey as a super empath. God is so awesome. See, he gives you what you need to protect yourself. She said, I'm definitely a supernova. I absorb so much abuse. So I went pure fire on him and his family and his enabling family. Thanks for explaining supernova. Absolutely. I love super empath. I love them. And I think I'm so mesmerized by them. The ones that I know, when they go supernova, but that just like they go supernova against narcissism or against wrong, they love that deep. That's why the narcissists know that if he get a supernova, the fuel you all get, is amazing. No normal person can give fuel like a super empath. No one. It's like the greater narcissist. No one can manipulate you like the greater narcissist. When no one gives fuel like the super empath, they love it because it's copious, it's plenty, is rich, but there is a price if you don't handle them right. She said, you are more than welcome and wish you were near. This is a safe space for us over ambitious one. It really is. And see, and you start to recover really when you escape. When you escape, and escaping is like, in the days of slavery, when a slave would escape his master after being tortured and beaten and his children taken away, his wife raped, his children raped, and so finally he gets a chance to escape. That's what we feel like when you escape. You feel like finally freedom. But like one individual was saying, how do I get over the painful memories? You get over them one day at a time. Because one thing, narcissists know how to love bomb you. You ain't gonna get no love bombing like that. They know how to just take you through the roof to the sky, because most normal relationships don't mirror you to give back to you. They take time to discover you. What the narcissist, the information he gathering to you in a week, it take a normal relationship about 3 months. That's why in 3 months they ready to get married. Like she said, 4 months and he ready to marry, have kids. First week he done told you, I love you. I love you so much. I never had a relationship like this. I never met anybody like you. You make me feel so awesome. You don't even feel. So how I make you feel? Mirroring. Notice those words. She said, you are more than welcome. Wish you was near. Okay, this is a safe place. And then Light said, if your daughter is a narc, will you love her or you will leave her? No contact. It depends on how old the daughter is. You can love your daughter and still have no contact. That narcissists abuse. See, we think they're regular people, so we treat them like regular people. Narcissists are not regular people. They almost act as if they're inhuman. They don't have emotions. They don't care. They would have sex with anybody they want. If they want your best friend and your best friend would yield, they can meet them today. And if they yield tonight, they're in their bed tonight. They don't care. You have some narcissists, they even do incest. They will rape their own children. They don't care. And it's nothing to them. It's nothing to see you cry. It's nothing to see you hurt, no matter how severe it is. So if your daughter is vicious, you go no contact. Over a vicious one said, create a new memories where you love yourself more than you took up the passion and project that was something. She said, I loved, but stopped doing because of this distraction and made new healthy connection. Absolutely. You are right, Apostle. Narcs aren't normal. No. Tried everything to save my marriage. Nothing works. Don't waste your time. Absolutely. He said, I suffer from reactive abuse. And I'm so sensitive that she said that I try not to reach, but it's so difficult. Can you please give me some advice on reactive abuse? I will. You are traumatized, PTSD. Yes, you have to be patient. It's really one day at a time. I've been no contact for 3 months. And in the beginning, I literally had to go one day at a time and just make it through. Let me tell you, I've some of my counselees that I deal with have been no contact for 3 years and they're still having flashback. Their memory is just coming back. Different when they left the narcissist, a lot of sicknesses left their bodies. So you're having PTSD. So what you're doing, you need to upgrade your memory. PTSD is occurrence of flashback. My husband was in 3 wars before he passed away. And PTSD will have those flashbacks. And sometimes he was shaking the bed until he had to get out of the bed and just lay on the floor at the foot of the floor. He was shake because he was traumatized by what has happened. And I had to pray him through for a year where he could sleep, because once he got over that, he was back in another war. Got over that, he was back in another war. So I have to really work patiently with him. And what you have to do, you have to fill your mind with loving memories. That means you get some inspirational recitings. You plug them in your phone. You put them on CDs. You put them on a thumb drive. You download them from iTunes. You go on YouTube and you just listen to them, listen to them, listen to them. You put the Bible on. They got Bible that will last up to 7 hours. Listen to the Bible. Boom, boom, boom. When he's not there, listen to him. When he is there, plug those earphones in your ear. The Bible's constantly telling you you are. The Bible constantly telling you that in Christ you are. And the Bible telling you what you can do, what you can have, what God did do, what happened in Jesus Christ, what Jesus did to redeem you. All of that is going on. Or you can get inspiration telling you you got a can-do spirit, you got a can-do mindset, you got 24 hours, you got 7 days a week, what you can do in 30 days, what you can do in 3 months, 6 months in a year, and boom, you're building yourself up until you're not so vulnerable. And the narcissist can pick up on it, because remember, they're trained to know ways by what they observe and not what they feel. And once they observe that you are not so willing to yield, not so willing to bend, and then you are actually becoming controversial when they're asking you to do stuff and you know they're crazy, you're not jumping to it. And so the narcissists know you're gaining strength. That put them on edge. He goes into the maneuver, start the gaslight. When that doesn't work, he goes back into the lie and wonder. Let me love bomb her. Then he moved all of the gaslighting, anything deal with negativity, and he loves you. He tell you how wonderful you are, build you up, because he's planning to drop you like a ball to bring you back under subjection. And she said, I suffer from the reactive abuse. Okay. Okay. And day to day say, yes, you have to be patient. It really is one day at a time. Absolutely. And Lighthouse said, why not sexualize your innocent words? And why do some of them doubt? They don't doubt your sexuality. You remember, he lying. The reason for the flashback and PTSD is because I didn't know what the narc was. Absolutely. Thought I was all alone. She said, but when I finally realized who he was, it was just a blessing to get away. It was an absolute blessing to get away. I agree with Dr. Carmen. I would say that you are down to their level and working the game against them. It isn't conscious decision. It's horrible, depleting, draining, and dirty. Absolutely. She said, this is Audrey. She said he does that to cover his cheating. Absolutely. And this is day-to-day social work. She said, Lighthouse, my narc would always ask me if I like women, just because I will compliment another woman if he had something on that, if she has something on that I like. Day-to-day, so looking back, I think he liked men. You know what? See, when they are familiar with them, narcissists tell off on themselves all the time. They tell off on themselves. You got to remember, they use reverse psychology. The narcissists tell you what you will believe because they have convinced you and trained you in how to believe. They have convinced you to believe what they say. They have convinced you to trust what they say. And if you are with them all the time, because in the love bombing, y'all together all the time, you got his words. He done removed you from the family, isolated you from friends. And when you go to work, he can't stop you from working because you need the job, because you need the money. And they want the money too. So he don't stop you from working, but he start controlling your time. In the beginning, it's you and him. He's everywhere with you. He's with your friends, and your friends seem to like him because, like she said, the outside man is not the inside man. On the outside, he put the mask up. On the inside, he take the mask out. He let you know that he is the devil himself and the wolf in sheep clothing. You see him for what he is, and he'll allow you to recognize it because he's used to you. And he can't hide the mask. Once he marry you, the mask come off, and he know the mask come off. The only time he gets you back into the draining stage is when he think you're getting ready to leave him. Day to day, say, I know what I believe, that most of the narcs are gay. They don't turn down a good role. They don't turn it down. And Telsha say, You must cover your mind, heart, and body and soul with the word of God. Absolutely. In the matchless name of Jesus. And Day in the social work said, Lighthouse, I honestly think he's addicted to sex and got it from whomever. That sound like the narcissist. I don't think he actually have a relationship with one. She said, no, and then Audrey said, oh, no, Lighthouse, not all are gay. Mine was and is a womanizer. No, they're not all gay. But they would just have sex with anybody, some of them even with a dog. I would get flashes of him, inclinations of him with me toward the end. He would ask me intensive questions about bisexuality as if he was trying to understand it. He wasn't trying to understand it. He wanted to see where you were, because sometimes they do that because they want to invite third parties in. They project their sexuality onto it. Usually when a narcissist start asking questions like that, he got something on his mind. He wants to invite someone else in on the sex. So they throw that out to see where you are. And if you had a fallen for, you would have had a different experience. She's a rebirth blessing to all. Hello, Red. I was looking for you. Thank you for coming on. Susan Peterson, hello. She said, absolutely, yes. And so what happens is when the narcissist, most of them depend on sexuality because nothing traps you greater than sex, because nothing entails a total soul tie like nothing but sex. Once you in, and you know, many narcissists, I have yet to see a narcissist who will use protection. Most narcissists think they got it down pat because they really gauge their specimens, and most of them have researched their specimens before they come to them, so they know that they've been along or church or morally good, and so they'll try to gauge the person, so they don't want to use condom, and then they come to you after they've been out there, which is an endangerment to you. You risk your life sleeping with your own husband who happened to be a narcissist. She said, look at the owner of the Playbook magazine. He slept with every woman on this earth, and at the end exposed himself as a bisexual. Right. And Red said, yes, the narc used to always ask me if I ever thought about being with two men at the same time. My reply was, are you attracted to men? Right. And so what happens is the narcissist, you got to remember they use word salad. Word salad is a conglomerate of words that don't make sense. It tends to confuse you. That's why in the beginning, it's like the book of Genesis. When you read the Bible, you got to go back to the beginning. No matter where you go, the root cause is in the beginning. We go back to the love bombing stage. We see why it was so necessary, why it was so intense, because he redirected the structure of your brain and started live trees to dying in your mind. That's why some of you have memory lapse. You've been with him so long until you are even confused now about yourself. And when you see yourself in the mirror, you see what he said, and you have to rebuild. You have to pull yourself back. Supernovas would do it. They pull themselves back because they don't went supernova, and they get back their strength. But the weakness of a supernova, they'll go back in and keep going back in until they just shake out of it, because he know he can't break them, but he can pull them back in. And that greater narcissist don't want to lose that supernova, because there's fuel like nobody else can give fuel. She's a Lighthouse. I'm a licensed social worker studying for my advanced license. I've learned my psychological diagnosis classes yesterday, and that most narcissists have paraphilia. Yeah, they are pedophiles. Yeah. And oh, yeah, and voyeurism. As she said, narcs will sleep with a dog. Yes, they will. I know in my cases, there was one that where there were animals involved, and some of them were like on the military verse. For one instance, wife came home and he was stuck with a dog, and they both had to go to hospital until the swelling came down. He got expelled out of the military. She said, you are right, Apostle. They bring diseases home to you. And when you confront them, they try to turn it on you. Absolutely. They do it every single time that they caught it from you. Because remember, a narcissist is not going to own up to any wrong because they think they're superhuman. And they think if anybody, most of you have probably heard of there is a narcissist on that comes on YouTube, and he tells you about narcissism, and you would think if a narcissist deal with grandiosity, what is the point of him telling you about himself? But what happens is a lot of times you can listen to a mesmerizing voice, and next thing you know, you're caught. They need to make sure you're constantly mesmerized by them. They never leave the mesmerization alone. They're psychotic, a lot of them. They're very consistent. And if you notice, every one of us on this Periscope have the same testimony: love bombing, honeymoon, gaslighting, trauma bonding, devaluation, discard, then come back in for a hoover. All of it is the same, no matter what part of the world we're in. She said, you're right, Apostle. They bring, okay. And Lighthouse said, how do not recognize and trust each other? They don't. They do not recognize and trust each other. She said, I confront mine about this test result because mine was negative and one of his was positive. And he cried and left my house in the middle of the night claiming I said that he has a disease, but he did. Okay, you must have been dealing. Who was this day to day? He must have been the Lord to midnights, because a greater narc would have contested that. They wouldn't have allowed you to get away with that. But you got to remember the lower, a grade narcissist, the lower mid narcissist, the lower upper narcissist, then the lower mid narcissist, and probably the mid narcissist would do that because they go to pity parties that are off the chart to try to get your emotion and to raise your emotions. And he knew it was the truth. And he knew that he picked a wrong specimen. And it was probably triangling. The new specimen gave him that disease. So that means that he made the wrong choice. They cannot handle being wrong. Riz, I always listen to how people change their voice when they talk. Seems like after the narc, I am very standoffish with people. And when they approach me, I use the very welcoming I'm used to being very welcoming to everyone. Well, you done been through so much. When you done been through so much, Red, you've been trauma bond, you've been lied to, and you trying to still figure things out. And by the time you think you got figured things out, he comes in and switch it. And then when you adjust to that switch, he switched something else. And that's why I believe narcissists, they don't stay with one person because they don't want you getting in their head. They don't want you to get where they are, because after a while, you'll start to figure it out. You'll start to tamper with stuff. And they act inhuman, but they got all the organs and brains that you have. They just operating on a different scale, because what's turned on with us is turned off with them. And they will push you out of their head if you get in too deep. Day-to-day social work said he frequently walked out on me when having disagreement and would watch me cry. You know why he walked out? Because he couldn't handle it. She said, change their tone, especially men. Yeah, you know, he couldn't handle it. So you was causing narcissistic injury, and rather than to keep that injury, he had to get out. He had to get out. See, you had an advantage. You was causing injury, because usually when they're in the win, they don't leave when they're winning. They don't leave when they're winning. He left and walked out so you could pull back, because you would be thinking whether you was right or whether you was wrong, because he had to come back to the house. And when he came back to the house, he had to come back in and get the control back, because he felt like he was losing control. So he leaves. And so he leaves out of the situation to leave you to your thoughts. There's nobody to argue with you. And he was wanting bombing, the love bombing that he did to take a hold. See, what we got to realize, the love bombing has a purpose, and it is supposed to work through all the relationship. That's why they always result in hoovering. The malignant hoover is when you refuse. When you refuse, they gonna come about you and just try to cut your throat. We're hoovering you, stalking you, telling you how crazy you are, telling you to stop stalking them, and they're the one outside of your window. And if you stalk me, I'm gonna call the police. I'm gonna tell your friends. And you're like, well, then why don't you leave from in front of my house? If you don't want to be with me, just leave. And they say, I'm tired of you constantly after me. And you're like, I never called you. I never. But see, you're arguing back. That's fuel. That's challenge fuel. And the ambitious one say he couldn't handle your line of questioning. I would get that same thing, deflection and leaving, especially when you have a mental health background. They're not going to let you in their head, because when you got to remember, you turn that emotion off. And when you start tampering with that trigger, it sets them off, because they denied that, and that trigger has been turned off. That love trigger, that caring trigger, that accountability trigger. And so what you're doing is asking them questions. Well, you're asking them questions because you want to bring them in accountability. They're in denial of all accountability. She said, mine used to try to diagnose me with his affliction. Yep, that's them. She said, and they move the goalposts all the time. They never say, that's why you never meet it. She said, feel pretty silly for being so diverted by this man. Just wanted to say that the supernova doesn't come from a position of yourself. For me, I just behave exactly like him. Horrible. Because remember, when you go supernova, you're going to mirror the narcissist. You mirror the narcissist as a super empath. And he told me he will be long gone by the time I figured out. I discarded him. And when I found out about some female in Connecticut, she said, that's when I found out about some female in Connecticut. Yeah. She said, one day. Typo. Whoa. And see, when you go supernova, it's in your character, it's in your ability, and it's almost like it's a response. Before you know it, you've reacted. Before you know it, you have commenced. And when you commence it, the body, the brain knows what to do, and you give off that recourse of energy where it almost throws them back, because a supernova is very, very, very powerful. But the reason you're looking at yourself is because you're mirroring the narcissist. The narcissist just don't mirror you. The supernova mirror the narcissist. Remember, it's tit for tat. So when he sees you, he's looking at himself. When he sees the supernova, super empath, he's now looking at himself. For the longest time, you were looking at yourself, but now you're looking at him. She said, the day by day social worker said he dated 3 years. We dated 3 years. First year, he broke up with me every 2 months, and I always tried to get him back. She said, and finally I decided I was done and broke up with him. 2 weeks later, he wanted to come back. Yeah, he wanted a Hoover. That was good fuel. She said, and I thought he finally changed, but the rest of the relationship was the same breakup and makeup. Yes, ma'am. That's a Hoover. And the fuel from a Hoover is really good. It's like breaking up with someone and making up with them. It's the makeup section. She said, yes, day-to-day social worker, the same hamster wheel I was on, but for 8 long years. Oh my God, over ambition. That was a lot to contend with. You got to remember, when you're with a narcissist, your brain is being rewired. This is not just emotion, your actual brain. If they put your brain under a scope, and analyze this, you can see segments of your brain where it has changed. And within a 24-hour period, your brain keeps changing, and the live trees stop dying because they are so malignant until the trees in your brain show black spots or spots on the brain, because you have been so traumatized. It's like a blow to the head. And that's why you are having memory loss. That's why you are getting sick. Your body, they cannot find all the time what's wrong with you. You got hypertension because of stress. They know you're totally stressed out. Then different diseases come and they can't find a root because it's not in your history. It's not in your family history. And they're wondering why you are dealing with it. A narcissist is very malignant. She said, I thought he finally changed, but the rest of the family was the same. Break up and make up. Oh my God. Okay, let me go down here. And day-to-day said, ambitious one, but you are out now. And I hope you are healing well. Absolutely. And Red said, Quinn Holiday did a video. Why did you feel? She said, why did you fall in love with the narcissist? And at the end of the video, he said, you fell in love with yourself. Absolute. That's mirroring. She said, and I thought that was so deep. Susan, Helen, I didn't know who I was. Absolutely. See, when you look in the mirror, who do you see? You don't see anybody else. You see yourself. Mirroring is a reflection of you, because sometimes without the narcissist, you are so hard on yourself. You can't see nothing good about you. And they see everything good about you. That's what they want to kill. And so they mirror you, and you fall head over heel with the narcissist because you fell head over heel with you. The stuff without the narcissist that you criticize is what he mirrors and shows you who you are. And you love it. You love it when the narcissist is mirroring you, but you hate it when you recognize it about yourself. You won't even look at yourself. And it take a narc to tell you who you are. And a lot of times that's how they got in. They got in because there was this gaping hole. Like Susan said, I didn't know myself, but he knew you. And when the narcissists have become experienced with relationship, you know how many women they went through at different scales and different economic status, different professional status, and different emotional status, and different psychological status. Some of the people were psychopaths. They couldn't handle love. And they took this narc through so much, he ran. He discarded himself and got out of there. And then you got other people. So they don't went through all kind of trauma. By the time they get to you, you got the real player. She said, when we were dating, he always broke up with me. The day he said that I'm going to make you into a woman that I wanted you to be, I should have ran, but I was only 19 and didn't understand. I know you were very young, and he knew that. And she's a lighthouse. Said, is the narcissist living their best life? Of course not. They're miserable. Nikki say, I had a narc parent and I felt it led me to these bad relationships. It did. Familiarity. I'm having trouble letting go the narc parent and the ex. Because you need to feel, when holes get filled, you can't put nothing in them. You're going to have to fill the holes. Those of you who are Christian, you got to pray and you got to read your Bible. You got to pray, but you just don't pray. You got to get in a position where you connect with God. Like you connect with the narcissist, you connect with God. The Bible said be filled with the Spirit. When you are full, you can't put nothing else in a full glass, because if you do, what's in the glass overflow. And when the narc start putting stuff in you, you'll start overflowing with Jesus. You'll start overflowing with praise. You'll start overflowing with assurance. You'll start overflowing with confidence. Once you get your confidence, there is energy and confidence. There's strength and confidence. You can make a decision in confidence that you will never make when you are in doubt. And you got to get your confidence back. You have to get to the place where that confidence can resurrect, where that confidence can live. And once you get that confidence back, nobody can break you down, because once you're with a narcissist, there is a strength comes from the aftermath that you didn't have before. She said, and this is Nikki. And Nikki says, let me get this one right here, Nikki. And Nikki says, I have, okay, I read that one. And Beauty Within, good morning. Good morning, Beauty Within. Thank you for being with us. She said, why does the knock downgrade and run it in your face? See, first of all, you should not be, because anytime a narc downgrades, he downgrades because he needs some quick supply. So he will compromise. There are narcissists that are upper mid-grade narcissists or greater narcissists that will actually go and get a meth addicted person off the street, teeth out, smelly, crazy stuff. What happens is they needed quick supply. They needed fuel, and that was the fuel they can get. So that's what they show you. And then when they show you something less than you, they are telling you you were no better than what they are showing you. And they took something less because of you. And so you feel like you are really nobody, and you feel really degraded. Remember the devalue system. They are devaluing you based on what they bring to you, and they expose a person on purpose, because they tell you you're no better than them, and you can't believe that they will actually result to something that low, and they will. She said, have a blessed day, Apostle. I love your teaching. Have to go. See you next time. All right, Audrey, love you. Apostle, that was funny to me when you said he discarded himself. Yes, ma'am. A knock and run. Don't think that there's no retrieve for you. When they get wounded, they get wounded. She said, thank you, sis. 30 days has gone. Today, my healing has become paramount. I forgot who I was, but God. Yes, ma'am. This is the overambitious one. And Susan said, Helen, I had no idea that I am a widow after a beautiful marriage. I am going to church tonight, but feeling so knocked off my path. That's what he wanted. Let me talk to you about that. I'm coming back to that, Susan. I mentioned about my biological parents being narc. I always said this scripture: if your mother or father forsake you, God would be your provider. Yes. And I can say I've always been proof. Yes. And this is from Red. Provided and protected. Yes, ma'am. And Sandy said, after 2 years, I threw him out of my house on a New Year's Day. It was so empowering. Next time I saw him in the street, I laughed in his face, but never said a word. Wow. And the ambitious one said, one of the talks with Quinn that pushed me out into leaving, I fell in love with myself. Oh, wow. That's good. She said, good morning. All that was true. You come out so much stronger. And after dealing with the narcissist, if you allow yourself to heal, you know what? The narcissist is a painful situation, but the lessons you learn, you didn't even know people like that exist. That it's the same, it's a system. The narcissist can have a club because they're going to go through the same system. The once he get new supply, you already know what that new supply going to go through. It doesn't matter how beautiful they are, they're going to get discarded. How fine they are, how handsome he is, they're going to get discarded. They're going to show their humanity because they're human. And once the narcissist see their humanity, it's going to remind them of their humanity. And they don't want to deal with it because they killed it. And now you're not perfect. And they think they are perfect. They're looking for something. They're looking for perfection. They're looking for love. All this stuff they don't have, they're looking for. And that's why I did the teaching on mirroring. Because when you mirror, they mirror who you are. They give back who you are. You love who you are. And they love the fact that you have good traits about you. If you were terrible, that means they're desperate, because narcissists look for the good in the person, because what they don't have is what they go after. And then once they get you, that's the thing they kill. The thing that drew them is what they want to kill later after having a relationship with you. That's why you look at them and say, yesterday you told me how wonderful that I was and that you love me. Yeah, but today they denied everything that you gave them. They hate everything you gave him. And if you look at a narcissist and they ever give you a narcissistic stare, you will never forget that deep, hollow empty stare, and they stare at you as if they could kill you, like they hate you. And you're wondering, why did he look at me like that? Because in actuality, their soul came up and the truth came up. And the truth is, they hate you for being happy. They hate you for laughing. They hate you for enjoying life because they do neither. She said, I noticed that their family is against you and your own family. He did it to me because the family supports him because they're under a spell too. We get stuck in the emotional trauma bond and thought forms. But the lesson the NARC teaches us is self-love. And that's why I am grateful for him showing up. He broke me open to learn myself. Absolutely. That was beautiful, Red. God, she said, God responds to me so different now. I disconnect. I hear him louder. Yep, I believe that. She said, feel him deeper. Yep, I believe that. And the level of prophetic sin has turned up as if God was saying to me, he was in the way of your progress. No, that's a present truth. She said, my narc gave me the stare. I swear his eyes turned red like he wanted to kill me. I know that look. I know it. Bless you, Helen. Yeah, I know that look. I know that look. I know that look. I know that look. And you would never, ever, ever, ever forget it. If you had it once, you would never forget it. You would never, ever forget it. But see, if you had to stare, you would see how empty, how hateful. How can he live his best life yet? He is hateful. He is miserable. How can someone be so happy? You can't even stay with one person. You have to have new supply. And then you have to have pain. You can't have a good relationship because you have to have the pain. So you get them to let them up, and then you feel fulfilled. We feel fulfilled in the love bombing and the honeymooning and the idolizing. They fulfill in the crashing, in the devaluation, in the discard. That's when they feel. And the discard is the ultimate supply. The fuel that narcissists say come out of that is tremendous. The love bombing, because they know from the point, the start point, that when they love bomb you, they are going to discard you. And the harder they love bomb, they know the harder they discard. And once you fall, that is fuel in the matrix that is off the chart. She said, and the day we broke up, I confronted him about the cheating, lies I never knew. And the mask came off, and the child I had never seen was exposed. He literally called my mom because I was talking to New Supply. Hello, Helen, chat ladies, gents. Hello there, Ari, and how are you? Beauty Within said that ex-narc has New Supply every 2 weeks. Everyone in the family knew and didn't say a word. No, they're not going to say a word. There's probably more narcissists in the world, in the family. They're not going to say it. You got to remember, a narcissist is a narcissist around his parents, around your parents, around you. A narcissist is a narcissist. And if you stay and hang around them, you can get sick. You can get really, really sick hanging around a narcissist because they're malignant. They are malignant, and they know this. They know the mask is going to come off. That's why they spend so much time in getting New Supply, because they know that you're going to see them for what they are, and they got to have it in place because they know that you're not going to take it. We've given them enough experience to know we're going to fight back. She said, my experience with my narcs was a spiritual awakening, of course. Of course. And with this knowledge, with this experience, we're able to help people. We're able to show them. She said, the overambitious one, absolutely. And she said, and so when you are in recovery, the true recovery is a no contact zone. You're going to have to come out, because when you're around them, if they're malignant, you can build the walls, and they'll try to tear the walls down, build it, try to tear the walls down, build it. Okay, those of you who was involved with a narcissist for 8 years, for 5 years or more, answer this question. Was the cycle the same? If you were with a narcissist for 8 years, for 5 years or more, say yes. Was the cycle the same? Was the cycle the same? Red said, I remember the narc stepmom used to say to me when no one else was around, she said, you have to go on with your life. I didn't understand at the time why she would say that at the time, but now I do, because she knew you weren't going anywhere. Okay, we got SH say yes. We got Red say yes. Who else? Who else? I think there was someone else. We got Blessed by the Best say yes. Who else was with him for 5 years? Who else was with him for 5 years? See, and the cycle is the same. You don't ever get away from it. And people who trying to make the narcissist be something they're not going to do it. That's who they are. And if you don't accept them, that's really your problem, because they're not going to change. They're not going to change. The narc is the narc. At the end of the day, they're going to be the same. At the end of the day, you're going to go through the same thing. She said it has been off and on for 9 years, if that counts. That counts a whole lot, Nikki. Yes, ma'am, it counts. She said my ex was close to his sister and cousin. I think the cousin knew everything. I called the sister and told her everything. And she said maybe he and I could be friends after a few months. Oh my God. I was with my narc for 3 years. The cycle would repeat weekly. Sunday, he would disappear. Tuesday, sweet as ever. Friday, he would be evil again. Wash, spin, repeat. Yes, ma'am. She said after the okay, this is over ambitious one. She said the look mimics looks they receive from the abuser. He told me this is how my father looks when he gets angry. Oh my God. And Sandy said 3 narcs relationship, married to one for over 5 years, never again. Pray God. Yes, Lord. Lighthouse said, what is the proper reaction when a narc gives you the dirty look? I'll talk about that. And Blessed by the Best was within for 13 years. Ooh, being on the outside now, he's still using the same tactics on all supply. He don't know anything else. And the narc harem that he recycles, and they do. We can talk about that. Just love, yes, ma'am. Susan Pastor Helen, yes, ma'am. Red said, if you do not learn the lesson, the next relationship will manifest as more elevated narc. My son's father was a narc, and I had no idea at the time. And then the next relation was it grows worse, because you're going to draw a greater every time. You will not draw lesser, you'll draw a greater. The enemy will make sure it does. Now, to deal with a narc, spread rumors. How to deal with a narc who spread rumors? Yeah, that's a smearing campaign and destroy your reputation. To defend yourself or to keep silent. You can't keep silence always. Over ambition said triangulation was reverse discard. I cried and everything, screamed, yelled, cursed, but the next round he called to finish the conversation, discard, and he was enjoying it. Yeah, because that was filled with emotion. Apostle, I'm still fairly new to your channel. Did you have a narcissist all day? All day? Yes, ma'am. A greater one. They really are charlatan. Yes, ma'am. They know how to soothe you. They know how to bait you. They know how to woo you. Some of the best love making, some of the best love bombing you ever had. You are so right. Same happened with me. One was an overt, and the other was a covert, which is the worst for me. Yeah, they try to cover up. The cycle was the same. And over ambitious one say yes. When you get the narcissistic stare, it almost paralyzes you. You don't expect that. It comes out of nowhere, and you look at them, and it's like someone throws arrows through your bones, and you freeze, and you question, and you are confused after that. And you like, Jesus, what did I just witness? The devil himself. Because nobody eyes is that empty that love the Lord. Nobody eyes is that dead looking that loves the Lord. Nobody eyes is that filled with hatred that love the Lord. So loving my God was not in his eyes at all. She said, with me and all the others, they have confirmed the very recent once I was exposed. See, yeah, when you're new at this, it can be devastating. That's why channels like this is good. People on here are excellent because they've been through it, and they've been through it for a while. I was trying to heal him with truth. You can't. And it was like pouring gasoline on fire. Yeah, that you just fueled. Yes, the stone dead eye. Yes, ma'am. She said, I have seen the desolation here. This is a battlefield I didn't even know need to enter. But you in. Once you expose, there's no way out. You might as well learn how to fight now, princess. He will be back. The eyes of the windows are to the soul. Yes, ma'am. My ex-narcissist tried hoovering me back in yesterday, saying I had mailed at his house. I've been gone for 4 years. Yep, that's the old ploy. She said the last narc was a doozy. Thank God you made it through. She said, but I left his butt. I let his butt have it. He was from Jamaica, and he was into some deep, dark, ooh, oh yeah, you was dealing with witchcraft. That's probably how he entered your dreams. He entered your dreams through witchcraft. She said, why did God allow evil people to exist? Because they're born in the world. Should he kill all evil people because they're born? No, they have a right to decide. He gave us a will, and they have a right to be born. He will get truth to them, but they have a right to be born. They have a right to live. They have a right to exist, even if they're demonic, because if not, what would you have ever learned? See, you couldn't help nobody if you hadn't went through that. But you know how many people you can help right now? You know how many people, even being new at this, and being on this sites like this is important. So when we come on, when I come on, Dr. Carmen, come on, please make it here. Please come. This is a healing site. We're conversing with one another. You're hearing one another's experience. They're saying it in a different way. You're growing from it, and an epiphany is happening. Your eyes open. You are seeing, God, it's going to take me some time to heal, because it took some time to get into it. Even if you was with a narc for 3 months, oh my God, just it can be devastating. 3 months with a narc is a long time. It's a long time. She said, I caught the narc hoovering supply from 16 years ago. They will come back after 20 years, because you got to remember the narc feels he's a slave master and you're the slave. He always owns you. You never get free papers. You never get free papers from the narc. He'll hoover you 5 months, 1 year. He'll wait. One young lady the other day was talking. She hadn't seen him in 10 years. He come back as if he had left her 10 years ago. So where they left off 10 years ago is how he came back, to show you how stuck the narcissist is. She said, I do portraits and cannot share this on here. No light. Absolutely. I know what you're saying. She said, it is odd if your narc at you, if you have a bank account. Mine did. Oh, okay. He's after more than just energy supply. He's after your material supply. She said, yes, I was asleep and woke up to the narc staring at me with a bone-chilling stare, like he hated me to the core. And I was so afraid, and he acted as if he wasn't staring, as if I was crazy. Absolutely. She said, I'm not running from no one. I do not fear anything. I don't start nothing, but I can but I am a stand finisher, of course. See, and this is why it's necessary that we build. The Bible said that we build ourselves up on our most holy faith, praying in the Holy Ghost. The Bible told us to be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Might is the supernatural ability to do anything. Power is the force, the energy behind the word of God. It is the creative force. It is the illuminating force. It is the projected force. It is the dunamis. It is the every realm of authority that you can operate in the word of God, and where the narcissist will acknowledge, because if Satan acknowledges it, he will acknowledge it. The narcissist is not, people make them perfect. They are imperfect. They are imperfect. That's why they keep running from supply to supply, and they keep leaking out, and it doesn't stand. That's why they like long-term narcissists, like long-term relationship, because they need you to handle long-term pain. They know they can't sustain a relationship without the pain. And that's why people who are with the narcissists look young, and then the people they with start to look old, because the narcissists pull all the energy, they pull all the supply, and they pull that for themselves, not for anybody else, because the narcissist is about him. The narc appears to be doing so much better since he's discarded me. He has new supply, who's an older woman who's retired, and he has a new car. Business is picking up for him, and he's living his best life. Oh, that's a whole lie. Beauty within, that's a whole lie. He picking up her money, and she probably helped him get the car. So, I mean, when you got two people trying to do it, he can do it. She said, how scary, how I can scare the narc away. He seems fearless and will not leave me till death. Oh, you can scare him. I'm going to talk about Gray Rock. She said, yes, it is. Ambitious one. You sound like me. Ain't no backing down. The narcissist, you're feeling his spirit. His spirit is filled with fear, because narcissists are laced with fear. God is laced with faith. And so you feel the fear. The Bible said God has not given us the spirit of fear, the spirit. He didn't say the emotion of fear. He said the spirit of fear, but a power that is an engaging force that overthrows. But power, love, and love cannot fail. And a sound mind, a thinking mind, a strategic mind. And that's why prayer for all of us, you have to get in the place of prayer, and you have to intercede. Prayer is powerful. Prayer is a wall. Prayer is tremendous. Prayer brings you into the presence of God. Prayer brings you up and enlarge your capacity. When you are filled with the Spirit, the enemy can't contend with you. He can't deal with that. That's why the Bible said, and Satan left Jesus for a season. Come on, because Jesus said, you find nothing in me. When you fill yourself with the word of God, you fill yourself with prayer. You are filling yourself with Jesus. You're filling yourself with God the Father, and they will find nothing in you. A narcissist is demonic. A narcissist is dark. A narcissist is hateful and mean, and all of his attributes are not good. He seeks to destroy. He have to, and the moment he gets you, he's going to destroy you. That's what he's there for. He's going to destroy you. So you have to get away from him before he does, because that's all he can do. He don't have anything to give you. He can't give you life. He has none. He can give you death. He has that. He can give you fear. He has that. Like he mirrors, you can see what he has gained. That's why he keeps control, because the narcissist don't want you to see the weakness. He hides behind your mirroring. He hides behind what he does for you. He hides behind who you are, not who he is. He hides behind the mirroring of you, because when his mask come off, you want to run for cover. And he knows that. Denise said, absolutely. My oldest son, father, also from Jamaica. I remember I woke up and he was staring at me when I was asleep. I was 19 back then. And he now says, I always wanted to be on you, on your good side, because he probably saw God on you. Narcissists are not crazy. They have the ability to think. Very intelligent. Very intelligent. Listen to this. You're absolutely speaking. Excuse me. Excuse me. Let me get something to drink. She said, yes, indeed. I stayed in the shadows of God's wing, and he taught me my battle. She said, island men are the worst, in my opinion. Well, it depends on who you get. It depends on who you get. She said, yes, he can only give what he has. Absolutely. She said, they are cowards for sure. Yep. And they fake and overplay confidence. They truly belong in Hollywood. The best actors you've ever seen, Red. And Nikki says, someone comment reminded me my narc was staring at me when I woke up. It was scary, because the eyes is the window to the soul, and their soul is hollow. Their soul is dead. And what you saw was the death zone. They can only, when their masks come off, all hell break loose. When the narcissist mask, that's why the covert narcissist is tremendous, because they've learned how to hide. They master hiding. The overt is just out there, but the covert narcissist hides behind everything. He hides behind your strength. He hides behind your love. He hides behind your finances. He hides behind your health. He hides behind everything that's yours, because they have nothing to hide behind. The overt is just out there. He's going to be very boisterous. He's usually a semantic. He's about visibility. He wants to be seen. She said, I aged so fast and got several illness while with my knot, but glory to God, he is responding to my health and beauty. Yes, Lord. This is Denise. I saw a narcissist that him and the wife is about the same age, but she looks like a very old woman. Excuse me. She looked twice his age, because he's getting supply and she's losing energy. He's getting energy. And so that's why when you go for healing, you have to go for a separation. And when you go from a separation, when you're living with them, you have to build strength. You have to cater to your mind. You have to cater to your emotion. You have to watch your emotion. You have to watch what you give. Even challenge fuel. You want to go off on them, that's challenge fuel. You want revenge, that's rage fuel. Any fuel that anything that has emotions in it, they can get. The only person that contend with them is a strong person who have made up in their mind to solidify their emotions, to solidify their mind, and a super empath. They can contend with them toe to toe. The only thing is that once you have left the narc, don't go back. A no contact is no contact. And a lot of times we want to break that contact. Don't break your no contact, because that can be the one pull that pull you back in. That one sentence, is it worth the hell that you went through? Because that one sentence now it cost you 3 months. No contact. Everything in you want to respond. Everything in you want to answer Don't answer. You cannot. You cannot. You cannot answer. She said every time that last narc texted me after I discarded him, I would text back, Rihanna's son, standing ovation. Finally, after an hour of months, he stopped texting. Believe it or not, Red, when you was texting him, that was challenge filled. What got him is he couldn't get you back, not the song. The song gave him fuel. Your absence is what disemboweled him. That is the strongest weapon you can use against a narc. No contact. The strongest weapon. Those of you who are married, you know that's impossible. So you're going to have to get and strengthen your mind, strengthen your emotions, stop going off. He's a cheater. You know he's a cheater. So why are you ragging him? Why you are conversating with him? You are challenging him. You are fueling him. When you get recovery, we recover you first. You're removed. We remove you out of the present danger. Once you remove out of the present danger, we get you to remember. Once we get you to remember, and usually when you start talking, different things come up. First is going to be the immediately things that just happen because your mind is cloudy and you have memory loss and you still don't recall certain things. So you're going to go to your immediate occurrences. Then after you stay clear, the fog releases your mind. When the fog releases your mind, you start recalling little incidents that you didn't remember until then. So now you're recalling all those little incidents and the pattern, which we're talking about right now. Most of you that are in the relationship, you're new in the relationship, you think you see them. You don't. You're going to see them after the fog clear. You're going to go that. Like she recalled, he was staring at her. That's the way it is when you're removed and you go no contact. You go no contact. She says, yes, it is the strongest weapon. Absolutely. No contact is the strongest weapon. She said, thankful for Dr. Carmen for sending me to you, to your broadcast. I needed these talks at this point of my recovery. You know what? Over ambitious one, I am glad. Dr. Carmen, she's my daughter and we work together. She is off the chain. She is a professional. She's filled with information. She brings it from the professional side. I bring it from the spiritual side. When it's time for the professional side, I do recommend Dr. Carmen because she can't go spiritual where I can go spiritual. So I leave the professional side to her instead of me using the professional side. You can go to her and I can just go spirit. I can say what the Bible say. You know what I mean? I am not prohibited because the truth is the truth. And sometimes even as victims of the narcissist, we don't want to hear the truth. I'm going to always tell you the truth. I don't want to cause a wound or a burden, but I will never lie to you. You done had enough of that. I will never stroke you. You don't have enough idolization. You don't have enough of that. I will tell you the truth, and we're going to pull you through this matrix. We're going to pull your emotions through this matrix because if you look at your emotions, they probably shredded. They are probably shredded. And so we're going to get those emotions back together. We're going to pull your thoughts back together. Your thoughts are scattered. They are so scattered until they got to reconnect. All those trees that died, we're going to do exercise with the mind and get those trees to live again. Get your memory back again. And those of you who needed healing that drew the narcissist to you anyway, we can go deep within. I did a teaching. I do also Periscope and Facebook, but I do it as a pastor. I do it under Apostle Sadler. I do YouTube under Helen Sadler because everybody that is on YouTube are not Christian. So Periscope and Facebook, if you're not a Christian, that's just so sad. We're going to let you have it. But I do respect the kind of healing that has to go on here on Periscope. And I know that I'm ministering to Christian and some non-Christian, and I want to be as sensitive to them as I am to the Christian. She said here, why not keep on their behavior even after they've been exposed? Because they are not. It's like a snake. You can't change their nature. She said, I remember the worst pain, the most horrible kick in the guts. I'm 50% back. Oh, that is a long ways back. And I'm glad about it. 50% is a good number. She's always tell people, I will give you the raw truth. Might hurt. I know this ain't nobody but red. Yep, this is red. She said, but you will heal well. This is red. Yes, ma'am. And see, that's the prophet in you. That's the prophet in you. You gonna tell it. Prophet's gonna tell the truth. They're gonna tell it like it is. Give or die. She said, the overambitious one. She said, I embrace the super empath in me. It's not a curse. Ephesians tells me so. Absolutely. We just need to get you around your kind so you'll learn how to use it. She said, I was low and broken as a woman could be, but I'm telling you, God can and will restore you. We are also witnesses of that, Denise. We're witnesses. We're witnesses. I love my husband. I was married for 31 years. 31 years. 31 years. She says, can a narc keep his marriage for a long time? I know narcs that have been married for almost 40 years. Sure is. She looks like an old woman. And he looks great. He looks handsome. Because he got all this fuel. She's faithful to him and he's not faithful to anybody. She won't have anyone outside the marriage and he's having everybody outside the marriage. So he looks young because he keep sucking up folk lives and she keep giving her life away to him. And he go run off somewhere else. And she is, you got to remember, narcissists are addictive. She's addicted to him. She's addicted to him. She's addicted to his words. He has her trained. He don't even have to give her commands. She's on automatic pilot with her training. After almost 40 years, she know by recourse what to do and what not to do. He got her trained until somebody wake her up. Her brain is probably so fogged, she don't even know she has one. And that's why she looks old. And she was asking me, what were you asking me? Can a narc, let me find that question. She says, she asked me something about a narcissist. Oh, while a narcissist continue acting the way they act, especially when they know you know, because they can't do anything else. A narcissist is a narcissist. That's why they can promise you something. When a narcissist love bomb you and he said, I love you, he meant it from your mirroring. He really love you from your mirror. And that's why when you're with that narcissist, they are ultimate protectors. When they're love bombing you, you can do no wrong. They won't hear nothing about you, nothing bad about you. That's why when you're married to one, you go through cycles of love bombing, cycles of honeymooning. And when they come back in to love bomb you, you are just as beautiful as when they first met you. But your idolization is temporary and it can go quicker. And then when you crash, the primary source crash harder because they are tormented in a greater way because of their position. Their position require a greater torment because remember the narcissist think trauma bonding is what's going to bond you to him. I even had a narcissist to tell me, I want my wife addicted to me. He said that in front of her. I want her addicted. And they both laughed, but I knew what he was saying. And I didn't find that comical because that's exactly what he was doing. That's exactly what he was doing. And she says here, uh, this is Red. Red said, uh, dig deep within yourself. You are equipped and armored to handle the battle. Watch the words you speak over yourself. Overcoming the narcissist abuse. She said, I was hoovered after 6 months out of nowhere. A phone call at 1 a.m. on a Good Friday from a strange number, and his supply must be low. He is the devil, period. It was, I was unfazed. He probably is low, or something trigger a memory. You got to remember, when you get Hoover, a narcissist don't think about you, so some has to trigger them. She said, I noticed when I lost weight, he always give me this junk food because he needs you fat. I feel that he wants me to be unattractive to others. Absolutely. You got it, Nikki. You got it. Georgia Camilla. Hi, Helen. She said, what is it? 1 year, North Carolina. Unfortunately, I was almost 22 years, and the narc was with him. And he was how old? He was old boyfriend. Okay. He hoovered me and I let him back in. Worst thing I've ever done that I could have done. Oh, I know you went through hell and back because they make you pay for leaving them. How how an empath can be raised by a narc parent. An empath can be raised by a narc parent. Normal people can be raised by a narc parent because what died in them may not have died in you. Just because you have a narc parent, sometimes the empath come out. Instead of them having emotion, they pass all of that on to their children. She said, no contact for 22 years. Yay! Good girl. I am loving Red's truth. Oh, Red is off the chain. I love talking to her. She is off the chain. I could talk to her all day. And she's pretty deep too. Yeah. And so when the narcissist hoover you, remember, once you get with the narcissist, they feel like you are their slave because they think that they're perfect. Grandiosity is always in their mixture, and they think there's nobody better than them, and they think that once they love bomb, you are so addictive that you can't leave. So they are really surprised when you leave. So when you think you couldn't get back at the narcissist, once you discard them, oh, they're shocked. And that's why when they come to Hoover, like the one was telling her she got mail at his house and she hadn't been with him in 4 years. He'll tell you his mom died, he's dying, the cousin died, the wife died, just any kind of crazy stuff. They will go to that extreme. They're like a kid. For them to be without emotions, they act very emotional. Have you noticed? But all these things they mirrored has come into play, and they can't handle it. She said, "Mines will bark orders at me, like I was a slave, because you were his slave. He thought of you as a slave. He didn't think of you as a woman. That's why they can go and hurt so many women. Because if they thought of us as women, they would have empathy. But because they don't have empathy or sympathy, they will acknowledge what they do. So they drop them. And there are some people who have killed themselves behind a narcissist. They were so embedded, especially a codependent. The codependent have it worse than anybody because they take and they merge their personality so with the narcissist until you can tell where the narcissist begin and they end. And the narcissist's desire is to merge you into them where you can't tell where you begin and they end. Is their desire what happened with the codependent. She said here, true. Mine would, okay. And then listen what Susan said. She said, "Thank you, Helen. I love people." And she said, my optimism and care, yeah." She said, "And I like being on the caring. I like being so caring." I think that's what you was trying to say. And she said, "I've been here. I've only got to 50% far. Thank you for your work." Do you know what, baby? And it's going to take time. Give yourself time. This didn't just happen overnight, and it won't just end overnight. You'll gain strength, and sometimes you'll have relapse, because when you think of them, you got to remember the addiction. It's getting that drug out of your system. And as your system is being purged, and the longer you stay away, like my sister for 22 years, I am shouting. She let all of us know the possibility of staying free. She said, "He hoovered me, told me I was love if this life." Let me see. "And he was so sorry," and all that garbage. Of course, I checked with his wife, and she said she had just discarded him at the same time he called me. Usually, always investigate. It's something you could call his wife, by which was by which way a narc will destruct himself. Absolutely. So, Georgia, it was some that you could call his wife. You be careful with that one. I didn't like the way that felt. My truth is raw. It is red. I need to send you a card. She said, "I thought at some of the things I said too, I am one woman show." I tell you, between, oh, that's red. Yes, ma'am. She is. But that's a super empath. A super empath is like a greater narcissist. You expect that from the super empath. She just ain't gonna take it. And then she's a prophet. So if you go prophetic and a super empath, that just a combination. That's a combination of abuse for a narcissist. Once you go no contact. Remember the stages of your recovery is we have to get you totally clear. And if we don't get you totally clear, we have to get you in the place of strength. If we get you in the place of strength, we can start your healing. And if we start your healing, we need to build positive affirmation. We need to get you in the Word of God. We need to get you in consistent prayer, where you go through prayer modules and you go through prayer warfare. You learn spiritual warfare. You learn how to clear out the heavens. And when you clear out the heavens, they can't set down on him. And some of you need to learn to bind that spirit that he carried, that spirit that he carries. When it's a demonic force, you have power and authority, according to Luke 10:19, over every demonic spirit. And when they're in witchcraft and they try to pull in the galaxies and the solar system, and they start to pull in nature. Well, listen to this. Elijah had a hammer. The hammerhead falls off. He speaks to the hammerhead. It floats up on the water. That is definitely against science and physics. Jesus walks on the water. Tell Peter to get on the water. Peter sinks. He get him up, and they both walk back to the boat on the water. Definitely against physics. Jesus feed 5,000 with 2 fish and 5 loaves. Against physics. He calls a fish, get the corn out of his mouth. Against physics. Paul and Silas prayed. The prison jail opened at midnight. Against physics. So Joshua speaks to the sun. Joshua speaks to the moon. That's nature. Over nature. You got authority over that. Daniel speaks to the lion, and the lion shut his mouth. You got power over nature. So it doesn't matter what the narcissists do. You got to empower yourself through prayer. You have to empower yourself through prayer. You have to. You have to. Because if you don't empower yourself through prayer, you will not make it through, because every day the narcissist have on his mind something to do with you. that is not good. She said, I feel a lack of motivation, disability, and low self-esteem. Lighthouse, because you got to get his words up. You've been bit and the poison is in your system. That's evidence that the venom is in your system. We got to get that venom out of your system. Once your system is clear of the venom, you will have the opposite of all those that things that is motivating you and that is sucking up your strength. And so even being away from the narcissist, his words not away from you, they're in you. And we have to overthrow them and uproot them out of you. We need to get other words in. Remember, it takes 13 words to every one word to change your mind. So he spoke 13 negative words. If he spoke one negative word, it's going to take you 13 words to one. And so if that's 13 words to one and he spoke a paragraph, that's 13 plus each one of those words that are in that paragraph that is going to take you. And that's for minimum change, not maximum change. The narcissists tell me that one, if my biggest flaws was that I take on the emotions of other people. Yeah, he know you're an empath. Sounds like he was doing going, he was going reading on my he knew you were an empath. He know you were an empath. And he know that's what empaths do. And that's probably why he loved you, because you was few oriented, because you could take emotions and just take it on yourself. So you would take the pain on yourself. You would take the burden on yourself. And whatever you take to that degree, it would be released to him. He would get that much fuel from you because you would take that burden and take other people's problems on yourself. And that's the weakness of an empath. That's why intercessors, empaths make great intercessors, great counselors, and they are regimented to take other folk problems, but they got to learn when it's not their problem. And that may be the weakness of the empath, is taking other people's problem instead of listening to a burden and giving it to God. They give it to God, but sometimes they don't know when to let go. All right. Oh, I wish you all could talk and I can hear you. It would be such a blessing. It's times like this that God really bless. And I'm so glad that you are here to help one another. People need to hear you say what you went through. You're not by yourself. You're not alone. You're not crazy. It did happen, and it happened just as wild as you said it happened. Victims are narcs, are blind or stupid. No, they're not. They're not blind, and we're not stupid. We're very intelligent women and men. She said, Red, I suggest to people recovering to learn from breathing techniques. Fill your lungs with capacity and fill them up more. And this will help the what is that? Parasympathetic. I'm trying to read that. Oh, nervous system. Okay. And I feel like, she said, I feel so stupid. No, Lighthouse, let me talk to you. Stupidity is not in your, shouldn't be in your vocabulary. You're not stupid. Narcissists have a third sense, a sixth sense about who they choose. They choose very positive people with character. They choose very powerful people that love. They choose people of integrity, people of honor. A narcissist don't choose dumb, stupid people to represent them unless they're trying to prove a point or unless they're desperate for supply. None of these women on here are stupid. None of them are dumb. All of them are very intelligent women, like you are. You're a very intelligent woman. And you should give yourself credit for being very intelligent. She said, Helen, Narc, what is that she said? enmeshed me with family and wife. Whoa, when he hoovered. Then when he separated from me, he came back after he had me for relationship and money. Don't give it to him. Don't give it to him. Don't give it to him. If you respond to a hoover, you're going to be pulled in. Those are magnets. Hoover means to be sucked in, and suck means to be pulled in through the mouth. His words are sucking mechanism, and the hoovering is what he used to attach the sucking mechanism. So once they hoover you, they go in and they put the suction cap on and start moving their mouth. And they start pulling you in because you listen to them. They are stout liars. Don't believe them. Don't believe them. They lie. Don't give him a dime. We are all smart. We are all talking to Helen. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Don't give him anything. Don't sleep with them. God, don't sleep with them. Don't sleep with them. That would be the biggest mistake you've ever made if you sleep with them. I think my computer is getting ready to go out. Need some soon. Okay. And Red says here, we are preyed on. Do not talk down on yourself. Think about how innocent child is preyed on from a molester. Narcs have a similar spirit. They have the exact same spirit. Not a similar spirit. They're predators. They're walking predators. You got to remember what they live by. What they use as fuel is what we live by. We live by the code of honors. We have love. We care about people. We care about what happened to them. A narcissist don't, so they borrow or steal from us what they don't have. She said, this is Debo. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Debo. How are you? So don't ever feel bad or think you're stupid. A narcissist always take advantage of the innocent. They love the innocence because you got to remember when you met a narcissist, in a way, he took your virginity away. He broke your hymen of life. He broke your hymen of integrity. He broke it and he took your virginity away. So your naivety was not through ignorance. It was not, you were unexposed, and they took advantage of your unexposure. Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much, Debo. And so I don't want you to feel bad about that. And see, right now, Father, I loose the anointing on her right now in Jesus' name. I loose you from every condemnation. I loose you from all intimidation. I loose you from all fears. I command your mind to be strong, and I loose strength for you to overcome, overthrow, and pursue. I loose you to rise up. I loose your eyes to open to the truth instead of the lies of the enemy, and for you to recognize how powerful you are. And once that truth comes, you will walk in that power and you will not back down in Jesus' name. And she says here, she said, don't even let them isolate you. Absolutely. That starts that downhill slide. It does. They lie pathologically. They are pathological lies. They lie over everything. 100 Gemini, how are you? She said, you really want to connect with someone empathic like me. I feel alone. And I've turned my back on my narc family. I'm Black Sheep. My Facebook is America Bridges. You can write me. Baby, write me at destinyhepper12s at gmail.com. Destinyhepper12s at gmail.com. She said the unconscious individual play on the conscious individual. Conscious individual have integrity. 100%. Say, if anyone wants to connect, let me know. She said, I will. And Gemini said, ASAP. You know, I think sometimes get in here, let's learn something. Let's learn something first. If you connect, know where we're connecting. I don't want you to just connect. When you connect, I want you to know that person and connect with what you know, not what you assume. So come into the porter and let's get to know each other. And then when you connect, you're connecting with something you know. See, that was our problem. We connected with the narc, right? But we didn't know the narc. By the time we knew them, our emotion was shredded and we had been to hell and back. So let's connect. Let's wait. Keep coming to the porter. Keep going to Dr. Carmen's porter because there's a truth there that is second to none. All right. And when you connect to that porter, you are knowing what you're connecting to. That has power. I was reading an article like um, this morning about the humans that walk among us. Most people downplay the fact. I don't. Absolutely. She said, my family, I have black sheep. She said, my family black sheep me, which put me in a needy situation to begin with. Okay, there may be something that you need, and we can write me. Let me know where you are so I can see what I need to recommend for you. I've found getting off Facebook and Instagram is very helpful. Even for a month, it feels good. Yes, the torment stops. The torment stops. She says, shake the foundation. Hello, Dr. Sadler. How are you? Glad to have you. And you in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You can even go on my messenger, go under Helen Sadler, go on my messenger, 100% Gemini, and let me know. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Sometimes we're too quick to connect with people, and it may not be good right now when you're too needing because Gemini, have you ever been told you was codependent? Yeah, empathic or empath sound more like codependency. And empath, you got the codependent empath. You have the codependent empath. There are several empaths. I'm going to go through and I'll bring several different kind of empaths. You know the empath, you know the codependent empath, and you know the supernova empath. There's other empaths that I want you to know about. And they're not other empath, but there are other classes of empath that I want you to know about. She said, how are you? Nice to see you. Amen. And she said, why some narcs avoid to invite you into their home? So strange. Yeah, they probably married. That's why they invite you. Some of them are married. They can't invite you where their wife is, especially if they live in a lie. You know how it is when you dated somebody without them being a narc. They were married. They didn't invite you to their house because their house has somebody in it. She said, please don't mistake me for a weak, very strong. Oh no, princess. Not in a million years. Not in a million years. You are very strong. You are very strong. We don't mistake you. We all understand and we all care for you very much. Hello from Romania. All right. Hello, Romania. How are you? Dee Soul Snatchers. Dog. I need to write that down. That needs to be a book. Yeah. That's exactly what they are. Soul Snatchers. That's good, girl. Man, I need to give you $1 for that. That was really good. Soul Snatchers. You better hurry up that book before I get it. And it's not plagiarism now, so don't accuse me. Soul Snatcher. Whoa. Doggone. Girl, you need to give me your address. Let me go and send you this penny in the mail. Hey, man. That was good. Man, I had to take a meditative moment on that. That was real good. Here it is. Gemini said, thank you, ma'am, for your support and wisdom. I really need someone at this time in my life. No, Gemini, I want you to stop saying need. You don't need